Hi, this is Shraddha Sidwani, clinical psychologist and psychotherapist. So today we are talking about eating disorders. One of the most common form of eating disorders is your anorexia nervosa, which is seen among the youth or the teenage girls. In this, they lose large amounts of weight and are generally underweight. They have constant thoughts about eating and counting calories. They may indulge in purging, vomiting behavior or excessive exercise. You also have amenorrhea, which is the absence of period in women. The bulimia nervosa, on the other hand, you will see that they have a normal BMI. However, there's still binging and purging behavior, also with the excessive exercise. A third category of eating disorders is your binge eating disorder. This is a fairly recent modern lifestyle disease, which we see clients consuming excessive amounts of food more than they would generally desire. Now, normally we all do this over occasions or birthdays. However, this is a disorder or a pattern seen which is happening 2 to 3 times on a weekly basis, and therefore most of these patients have been seen to suffer from obesity. Now, what are the causes of eating disorders? So, eating disorders could be a conditioning we have got from our parents to look thin, lean. It is something that we have observed role models and parents doing. If they've been following diets, the child starts following certain diets, avoiding certain types of food. Some careers may require a thin body as well, such as your athletes and your sports, your dance, ballet dancers. And so all these things, the social media may also validate certain stereotypical, prototypical bodies, and we may fall into the trap of an unhealthy eating pattern. Now, eating disorders are difficult to diagnose, accept, and treat because they are egocentric, which means that people feel good when they lose weight. They get a lot of validation from society as well as themselves, and therefore feel that if they give up their eating disorder, they may be ashamed, they may feel guilty and angry about gaining weight, they may not get approval, and so this becomes extremely difficult to fight with. A lot of feelings of guilt, identity confusion may come in these patients. We have seen generally the causes behind this could be bullying, sexual trauma. There is also research indicating there is a genetic predisposition to it, and also there are biophysiological, psychological causes which may trigger some form of eating disorder. So it's very important to identify that the perceptions of the body are, may be distorted, and also the relation with food is distorted. Food is seen as something that they can control, and of course, while controlling the food, they feel they can control their emotions. However, the disease starts controlling you rather than you controlling the disease. So it is very important to be self-compassionate, be supportive to patients who are undergoing this problem. It may be very difficult for them to identify, like I said, and come out with it, speak up. They lack self-confidence and have a lot of self-esteem issues. They feel worthless if they gain weight. And some of them even tend to get into a nicotine addiction to sort of reduce their weight or control the weight levels. One needs to identify other ways of bringing value to themselves rather than their weight. So cognitive behavioral therapy, or REBT, which is rational behavioral therapy, are one of the most important ways of reducing these distorted thoughts, changing these distorted thoughts, and coming forward in making a healthy pattern or healthy relation with food. Thank you.